Okay, everybody. This is a quick tutorial on how to make a graph on a computer. Many of you likely know how to do this. Some of you, maybe this will be your first time, but we're going to use a little temperature versus the number of ice cream cones sold data set in order to learn how to make a graph. Now, this is Google Sheets. I chose this because this is what is most available for our Chromebooks, which is our district's choice of device. It is also a very similar process in Microsoft Excel, for example. You can use any program that you want to create computerized graphs. We just need to make sure that we have all the variables there. So when you have your data set, you can highlight the entire thing, including the variables, and then you find this little chart icon and insert your chart. Now, when you see this inserted chart, because I highlighted my variables, it gave me a title. Now, if I want to edit that, I can change this to ice cream sold versus temperature. I can just click in there and change it, okay? Now I can see I've got temperature, I've got cones sold. This I would probably want to update. Again, when you highlight your data, including your variables, you're going to end up seeing the variables that you have there. All of the title and the variables should be capitalized. So please type with capitalization or go in and edit those, and you hit edit chart using this little snowman here. You can do edit chart, and then you go to customize, and you can decide what you want to change. Okay, so you can change the chart style if you wanted it to be different colors, for example, or show more grid lines. Chart and axis titles. So the chart title we've already got. In order to do an axis title, we have to use this drop down, horizontal axis title, and I can write temperature, Fahrenheit, okay. To do my vertical, I would just change it to here, okay. If we have multiple different series of data in the same graph, there's ways to change their colors, to change their point shape. When most of the time I'm going to want a trend line, and if we look at this trend line, it automatically selects a linear trend line, but we can change that to exponential or polynomial to see kind of which one fits the best. And I think that polynomial fits the best in this case. Okay. A legend, again, if you have more than one data set, you can create a legend which labels each set of data so that we know what those are. And then you can also do different things with your axes as far as color, but also you can change the minimum maximum values or the increments that you have on your axes. So that's kind of your chart editor in Google Sheets. Once you have this, you can use the snowman to copy the chart, and then you can paste it into an email and send it to me, and I can print them for your group. I would like people to rotate who makes the graph for your group each time we do a lab. That way we each get to practice this. Alternatively, you can each make your own graph every time. That is fine as well. But send me an email with a chart that you want me to print and tell me how many you want me to print in that email so that I can get those printed for you and you can cut them and paste them into your lab notebooks. Thanks for watching. And if you would like to see the Excel version, well, I think you could probably figure it out on your own, but keep watching if you want to see the Excel. So if you're in Excel, I'm going to have to open that up here. Going to copy this data. Excel is taking its time here. Okay, similar, I'm going to paste my data. When I highlight my data, I can do an insert chart in a very similar way. If I go up here, insert, and then it's been a while since I've used this one, charts. Okay, I think you probably just click that, but if you click this, you can choose a scatter. You can hover over them to see what they're going to look like. Okay, I don't want you to connect the dots like this. That is not a good chart for most things. So we can do a scatter plot. Here's a problem that I see right now off the bat with Excel. First of all, it did not give me both variables up in the title, so you're going to have to adjust that. Second, it's not even giving me labels down here, and it's been long enough that I haven't used Excel. We can do axis titles here, okay? We can do get grid lines or no grid lines. Error bars, we're not going to work with that. That's more of a statistics thing. Data labels will show you those points. I don't really think that that's necessary. Adding a trend line, and again, the trend line has some different options here. Okay, more options. We can change it to polynomial, for example. Okay, but look at all this dead space. Excel automatically assumes that I wanted to start at 0. We don't want that. We don't want dead space in our graph. So we should be starting closer to 60 or even at 60. And so you're going to have to go through all of the options of formatting your table in order to adjust that so that you don't start at 0. So format axis, it's starting at 0. We would change that to 60 and then see what that looks like. And that's a much better graph. So just make sure that if you are using Excel, that you end up going through and doing all the elements. We need axis labels with units in most of our labs. We need a title that contains both of our variables. So this one would not be sufficient. We need data points and trend lines or curves for most of our labs. So those are the pieces that you want to make sure that you have. And Excel versus Google Sheets are going to have just different ways of finding those editing options. So thanks for watching, and we will see you in class.